You do a lot of forge stuff,
Hmm.
but we are going to see some complex stuff later that you've shown us already, which looks
Yeah,
absolutely insane. People
I
should
was
stick
looking at
around
older
for that.
photos today that I haven't posted yet either, and there are a couple of older complex builds that I think are neat that I'm going to get around to. Even though the color scheme and the shapes are kind of cohesive, it can sometimes be difficult to feel like they are generic enough to get some of the same kinds of builds. Like, you can try and do a forged style fighter like this, but it ends up with so much extra sort of detail and greebling on it from the result of like all the various fins and blades and stuff that the effect isn't the same. I had a really hard time using all of the Uju launchers. I'll just show you like the spring-loaded launcher, right? Because it's got its own totally different color scheme. It's a different shade of gray. It's got these big yellow. The thing I was tinkering with during the Discord build party was like, well, that launcher actually looks like a pretty decent engine pod.
I love that one because it's got your articulating things in the back for the engines, which look great. It has the
Those are
lance.
from the new drones. Those are fantastic.
Yeah, it's got the lance Uju on the sides, the double fin
Yeah.
things, which look different, which I think look great. And then
A
using
little
those missile,
Star Wars.
using those missile launchers as the engine stuff is awesome. And then the front cockpit, again, the Falx one, but at an angle, and then using the guns from, those are the guns from the Gladius, right? Where they kind of like are offset. That ship is great.
And I noticed actually, so this is a good example of the drone parts we were talking about earlier, this one beside the canopy here. Because on this side, it looks like a little cluster of, I don't know, sensors or missiles or something.
Yeah.
But on the back side of that piece, it's got this sort of triple vent design.
Yep.
That's a really nice front back piece. I actually, when I was building this, I tried them and I liked the shape from the top, and I was like, oh, what if it goes backwards? And I actually kind of liked it both ways, but I decided on that one.
Sometimes you can kind of look at spaceships as having almost like three parts, like a head, a body, and a tail.
Yeah.
And like, you've done three super unique sections on that ship. Like that tail, I've not seen anything like it. The way you use the cockpit in the front's very different, and then the body in the middle is really great. And the other thing that I think that's really cool too is the way you use the colors. You're able to get the Uju in there, but mostly keep the rest of the ship flat gray.
It's interesting seeing people take cubes and put them at 45 degrees for the back and having fins go back at just more straight angles works really well. That one you just put together over the course of like
about an hour.
That's great.
There's kind of a Gundam-esque feel to it as well, because there's that moment where like, oh, we're going to turn the engines to maximum, open all the outtakes, right? Anime moment of like, overclock the engines, full speed.
Overclock.
Push the lever all the way forward. This model is actually very much the result of this thinking, this super monstrosity.
Whoa.
This is forge in complex style, basically. How many fins and spikes can we put on a forge model? And you can see I've used the Saber cockpit again.
Yeah, it's got almost like a Babylon 5-esque silhouette to it. So you're using actually multiple things from like the land vehicle offsets for like the treaded scythe tanks to come out.
Yeah, the middle one is from the Lander and the Gladius, and I think this one is from the scythe tank. So there's sort of this module, which was what I was tinkering with the. This is sort of how it began. I was like, oh, this sort of blue piece here is cool, and then I was like, oh, we'll just build off of that angle, and then the rest of the ship is a V.
Oh yeah.
Things turn slightly coming off of it. I used a couple of the cannons, the ones that don't have. These ones have a round connector so that I can pose them. And I originally started off being like, well, do I want to put cannons there? And decided that you actually get kind of an interesting industrial look if you rotate them to look like, I don't know, greebles or like
they're scaffolding or something.
Yeah, scaffolding or like supporting struts, yeah. And I'm finding a lot of the weapons are actually really useful to use not as weapons.
I think Benerator used for one of his early mech designs.
Yeah,
he did a Saber antenna, which I think turned out really cool.
I've used them on the cockpit as well. The ones that are flat gray usually look really good as antennas.
Yeah, that one's almost screaming to have you take a wire cutter to it and just make one of the barrels half the length so you get like an
slightly
offset.
Shorter. Yes. Yes.
Question, do you have other builds before the monstrosity?
One more fighter that I think is worth mentioning because it's also quirky. And then I've got a forged ground vehicle. So I was tinkering with this one. I was actually inspired to finish this one after the build party because it didn't have these wings on didn't have these big sort of double folded wings. You're
using one of the complex double attachment things for Falx wings. That's great.
A little bit inspired by Star Wolf's ship from Star Fox. the Wolfen fighter.
Oh, yeah. I love the half engines from the Falcons on the top that continue the line to the back engines. When you look at it from the top down, yeah, that's great. And using the Lance offset angle engines as more like fuselage pieces to get that angle down, that looks great.
The whole thing is kind of a big octagon at the back.
It kind of reminds me of the last Starfighter a little bit. Like, it feels like it could do a lot of crazy maneuvering.
Trick turns, right? You pop two wings open and now you're braking on that side. You pop them both down. It almost operates like an X-Wing in that way because you can kind of lock them forward.
I really like the two Lance noses together to make like the wider front. Yeah, you found a great way to get the fuselage angles feeling like using the fins at an angle. That's a great one, man.
The tricky thing about this one, and the thing I struggled most with on this build, was actually just, it's basically got a V of cubes in the middle as like the middle layer, but then just finding enough pieces that would actually fit into the remaining connectors that were sort of covered up.
Yeah.
That didn't collide with the other pegs, like this bottom engine, which was only attached on one of its two pegs, and sort of figuring out how to fill the space between. In LEGO terms, we call it the panel gap, because you can build two nice pieces, but if you're trying to stick them together at weird angles, you're always going to have this unsightly weird seam where you've got like, you know, a row of triangle bricks going this way and a row of triangle bricks going this way, and where they meet, you've got to figure out kind of what that's going to look like, and that will usually determine how nice the finished model looks.
Build to battle.